Hey everyone and welcome. Today we are diving deep into something that so many of us struggle with, those intense, relentless sugar cravings. We're going to look at the surprising science that's actually driving them, and more importantly, we'll get into some powerful, science-backed ways to finally get them under control. So let's jump right in.
So, does this feel familiar? That nagging urge for something sweet that just pops into your head and refuses to leave. You try to ignore it, you try to fight it, but it just feels like this unwinnable battle. It is so frustrating, and honestly, it can make you feel like you're failing.
But here is the most important thing I want you to hear today. This is not a failure of willpower. It's not a moral failing. The reason the struggle is so real is because it's wired deep into our biology. We are talking about real, measurable things happening inside your brain and your body.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this, we have to start with what's happening upstairs, inside the brain. We need to talk about something called the brain's reward circuit, which is incredibly powerful. Now here's something you have to understand. Your brain doesn't really care if you're eating a fancy pastry or a simple bowl of pasta. See, once they're digested, all carbohydrates break down into glucose, which is just sugar. So to your brain's reward system, it's all the same thing, a powerful trigger. And the main character in this whole drama is a brain chemical called dopamine. You can think of it as the feel-good molecule. Its job is to be released when we do something pleasurable, and it's specifically designed to make us want to do that thing again and again and again.
And this right here is the cycle it creates. It's a simple but powerful loop. You eat sugar, boom, your brain releases a flood of dopamine. You feel that little hit of pleasure and reward. And then your brain basically makes a note and says, hey, that was great, let's do that again soon. And what's really wild is that this loop is remarkably similar to the one created by highly addictive drugs. But wait, the brain isn't the only one calling the shots here. In fact, recent science has uncovered a hidden puppeteer that has a shocking amount of control over our cravings, the trillions of tiny microbes that live in our gut.
I mean, just listen to this quote. What I had believed was my own preference was apparently the insatiable appetite of a foreign invader. Let that sink in. The idea that our cravings might not be 100% our own, but are actually being influenced by what our gut bacteria want to eat, that is a total game changer. So how on earth does that even work? Well, scientists have uncovered this incredibly complex communication channel, this gut-liver-brain axis. It starts with certain bacteria in your gut producing these little compounds. Those compounds then set off a chain reaction which sends a signal to the liver, which then sends another signal all the way up to the brain. And that final signal can literally turn the dial up or down on your desire for sugar. It's all happening without you even knowing it. And as if that wasn't enough, it gets even more complicated. Researchers discovered that our brains are uniquely, powerfully wired to crave combinations of fat and sugar. When you eat them together, think ice cream, cookies, pizza, they deliver this synergistic 1-2 punch to our reward system. It causes a way bigger dopamine release than fat or sugar would on their own. And that is why so many processed foods feel almost impossible to stop eating. Okay, so that's the science. It's a powerful mix of brain chemistry, gut health, and modern food engineering. It sounds kind of daunting, right? But here is the good news, the really good news. We are not powerless. We have an amazing toolkit we can use to fight back. So let's talk about how to rewire our responses and stabilize our biology. All right, the first set of tools comes from something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. These are super practical things you can do the moment a craving strikes. So instead of just giving in, you could try some deep breathing to calm that stress response. Or you could go for a quick, brisk walk to get a natural hit of dopamine from exercise. It's all about creating new, healthier habits to replace those old triggers. Now, for a fascinating biological hack. This is one of the simplest, yet most effective, ways to stabilize your body and slash those cravings. And it's just this: change the order in which you eat your food. No weird diet, no special foods, just a different sequence. And just look at the difference this makes. It's incredible. The way most of us eat, carbs first, like the bread basket at a restaurant, that puts your blood sugar on the total roller coaster. But check out the bottom row. By simply eating your veggies and protein before you eat your carbs, you can cut that massive post-meal glucose spike by a whopping 25 to 40%. That is huge. That's what gives you stable energy and stops the crash that leads to more cravings. So, what does it actually look and feel like to break free from this cycle? It is definitely a process, and knowing the timeline is everything. So let's walk through what you can probably expect in the first couple of weeks.
This timeline is so important because it shows you that the hardest part is temporary. Days 1 and 2, you've got that initial shock. Then it hits its peak intensity around days 3 to 5. That's when you might get headaches, feel tired and grumpy. But, and this is the key, after that first week, things start to shift. The physical stuff fades, your body starts to adapt, and by week 3 or 4, you feel so much better. You just have to push through that initial peak.
And you don't have to just white-knuckle it. These strategies are your lifeline, especially during those first couple of weeks. Staying hydrated is huge. Eating lots of protein and fiber to feel full, absolutely non-negotiable. Getting enough sleep. And managing stress, because stress will send your cravings through the roof. Having healthy snacks ready to go is also a must.
So let's end with this thought. We always talk about this as a fight against our bodies, a battle we have to win. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? What if real, lasting control isn't about fighting at all, but about finally understanding the signals your body is sending you and learning how to work with your biology instead of constantly working against it?